Number 2, Joanne Hayes.
Kia ora, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Finance. What reports has he received on recent trends in the cost of living for New Zealanders?
Order. Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, Statistics New Zealand released yesterday the Consumer Price Index, and it noted that it increased 0.3% in the March quarter and by 1.5% in the year. This was slightly below expectations and a very significant improvement on cost of living increases which peaked at more than 5% in late 2008, just before this government came office. Prices for packaged holidays, vegetables, breads, meat and poultry all fell in the March quarter. As the opposition finance spokesman helpfully pointed out yesterday, the good news for families is that, excluding excise tax increases on cigarette and tobacco, there was actually no overall cost of living increase in the March quarter. So if you don't smoke, there was no cost of living increase at all in the 3 months to March.
Mr Speaker.
Supplementary question, Joanne Hayes.
How do prices over the last 12 months compare to average cost of living increases in the 9 years to 2008?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Well, Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, the 1.5% increase in the cost of living over the last year compares to an average of 3.1% of annual increases every year in the 9 years to the end of 2008. The price of food increased 0.8% in the last 12 months. That's 0.8% for the price of food, compared to a 4% average annual increase between 1999 and 2008. Within this, fruit and vegetables actually fell on cost 1.7% in the last year, compared to a 6% average yearly increase under the previous government. Meat and fish were up 0.6% in the last year, against 5% a year under that government. Petrol increased 0.3% in the last 12 months, compared to a 7.6% average annual increase under Labor. And importantly, the price of electricity, which is often talked about, is up 2.9% in the last 12 months, compared to a 7.1% average annual increase under Labor. We see much the same pattern comparing the 9 years to 2008 with the 5 years and 1 quarter that followed.
The opposition should be silent. Supplementary question, Joanne Hayes.
How does the cost of living compare to recent wage increases?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
On behalf of the Minister of Finance, quite well over the past 2 years. Over the past 2 years, as the economy has continued to pick up, the average full-time wage has increased from $51,700 a year to $54,700 a year, an increase of $3,000. Average weekly wages increased 2.8% in 2013. This compares to a 1.6% increase in the cost of living over the same period. Wages are expected to grow 2.8% in 2014, 3.5% in 2015, and about 4.7% in 2016, driven by higher labour demand and a continuing fall in unemployment. All these figures are significantly in excess of expected inflation over the same period.
Supplementary question, Joanne Hayes.
What recent reports has the Minister received confirming the growing economy is delivering benefits to New Zealand households and businesses?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
On behalf of the Minister of Finance, while we of course welcome reports of a growing economy, what is important for families is more jobs and higher incomes. And looking ahead, Treasury's preliminary budget forecasts show that the average wage will rise to around $62,200 a year in 4 years' time, an increase of a further $7,500 by 2018. This adds up to an average wage increase of around $10,500, or around 20%, over a 6-year period, compared to forecast inflation over the same period of around 12%. So the message is clear. Good fiscal management is helping to deliver higher wages and a lower cost of living for New Zealanders.
Question number 3, Grant.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Justice.